This is Rydo, and we are back to Harry Potter Magic Awakens. So, I've updated the launcher and I've updated the app, and so is getting to the main issue here. In that, twice, two for two, my computer is just randomly rebooted near or around the process of playing this game. The first time it was in the middle of recording. The second time it was actually many hours later, but the launcher is still open. I feel like this Loading Bay NetEase launcher is just not well designed, and I think that is just potentially going to be the death knell of this game. On top of the fact that there's just a lot here that doesn't really work as a daily driver type of game. I don't even know what this game is supposed to try to be, but it's weird, to say the least. It's a weird combination of several different mini games and the card-based action RPG element. Because we loaded back in, we're not in quite the same place. We're instead on one of these screens again, which I guess official accounts maybe go somewhere has something to say, or they've just added an add friend button. Like, it does seem like things are just changing like crazy. Sign in rewards, apparently. So now we have a different outfit, and weirdly this also switches us around again, because we were playing as a girl, but now the girl is in pants, and so the idea that witches would only be in dresses apparently has gone out the window. Maybe that was always the plan, but then it feels like by default you should have allowed for that option. It does also make me certainly question if I was wrong about seeing two girls dancing in the cutscene at the very beginning of the game. It may very well have just been a girly looking guy dancing with a girl in a dress. Let's see. We might as well just equip it, this summer set. But yeah, if the game's gonna straight up crash, that's not acceptable. And see, here's the owl by default that we have, but this is the owl we've chosen. We've seemingly now have to hold down the Alt button to get to certain places, to get the cursor to pop up. See, I don't know what is being marked as new. This says new here, but what may be new is just the fact that we're at level 14. But we've still not gotten to the place where we even have any match stats. Alright. So there's something here we can view, which that just brings that back up. And you'd almost think that F to view would toggle on and off. And the social aspect seems to be still having something new. There's a questionnaire here. You've been in Hogwarts for a few days now. Following is a survey. And so then the survey just opens up a web page, which we'll deal with that later, probably never. Alright, now they said holding down shift while pressing WASD would make you run. I have plugged into my computer several modifiers that catch keystrokes, and in one of those is very much that caps lock never works. So you can't hit the caps lock and lock a key and then press it in capital. There is nothing though that captures shift alone. Now if I press shift and some other keys, I'll trigger OBS as a modifier, but shift and W should be running, and yet we are not getting any of that at all. We still don't have anybody in our room, and our room does seem like it just enters into the castle corridor with the loading screen. They really got to fix that issue. The real question is, how do you just get the screen to go away? Or is the screen supposed to be here the whole time? And we have shop pushes. So new day, we can open another free card. Another Hermione is in the front and Ron and Harry are in the back. Does kind of feel like the game might be running a little bit smoother. And for gold, it seems like it probably makes sense to just spend the gold. Although I could have potentially bought a Phoenix card, so let's not spend any more gold and see if we can actually get to that point. Alright, now it feels like the character is moving fast and quickly, and nothing I'm doing seems to really change that. Supposed to be heading to the Great Hall. Oh. Well, apparently just pressing V gives you a reward there, so I wonder almost if I have missed some rewards. Now this is funny, I have one gold key, but it seems like it was saying that you needed 2 to guarantee an opening, and previously it didn't seem like it was willing to open if you only had 1 key, which is weird. The real problem here, though, is that you really are just running into seeing all the cards very quickly. So it doesn't really feel like it's a game that really is built around the cards, which that would be the content you would assume that they would add to people. So this Iglesias story lies. Still have to click and drag to scroll down on this text. This one is not being attributed to any named character, so I don't know who this person is supposed to be, unless that's the Ivy, the new character, in contrast. Hermione Granger cast this spell. You'd almost expect it to be a case that this is a story being told by Hermione Granger. Harry and Cedric are named in this one, but visually nobody is really shown, just a bunch of hands. But also, if you want to upgrade those cards, you have to get over this direction and deal with all of this. Noticeably, it seems like my echo has disappeared. So maybe it's a case that your echo only lasts for a limited time, and so it's a limited time boost, which I definitely didn't realize that might be the case. And then still haven't really figured out a way to turn off any of the social or any of the conversation stuff. I would really like it to just all disappear. Okay, so some random person has sent me a friend request. Let's go ahead and accept and just see what that does. Probably not a lot. Were there any other comments here? No. Just this questionnaire that they really want you to fill out. Okay. So now that we're moving a little bit faster, there's still some rooms that feel like they don't really do much of anything. I can see far in the back there's something interesting. There was a floating ghost we could have interacted with. It does feel like the game is potentially smoother now, as far as wandering around. I didn't think these would move when you were standing on them. That changes things. And I'm fairly certain that wasn't there before. So it does just seem like you can wander around this area and grind for gold if necessary. Still don't know how to get through this door. But I have to kind of assume it's going to eventually just lead to a whole nother area that we're still not tutorialized to. We are 4 hours into this game, and while I may be moving somewhat slow, I'm not moving that slow. Interesting, you can get in that room a lot more than I would have thought you could have. Alright. So to get to that, you had to magically transfer yourself that way. Noticeably, this time when we entered this area, they didn't have us magically floating down the stairs. But yeah, at a certain level, the whole game really should just be that, where you click on the screen and it magically transports you via a map she pulled out. So here we have Robin in casual clothes. We're out of our Hufflepuff outfit too. The interesting thing about casual clothes now in this set in the modern time Harry Potter game is that they are just wearing like modern clothing, whereas Harry Potter basically set in the 60s or so. No, probably closer to the 80s if I was to guess. Oh, what are you wearing? Is that your mother's old robe? Go to Madam Milcom's robe and get some new clothes. I just can't stand your old-fashioned look. So we'll stick with I like it. I don't want to be transported. So all of our important characters are here. Give it a try. What was the question? Well, I guess he's casting a spell on the fireplace.
Here goes nothing.
Defeat Kevin, who's practicing Incendio. Take care to and avoid Incendio. Alright.
Monster book. Orb of water.
The orb moves, I forget. Well, apparently you can double click and teleport yourself places instead of walking.
Spiders.
Well, it seems like single clicking even will help you.
Ventus.
But it does just seem like you are going to constantly have to wander around. And apparently you can't cross the line.
Acromantula venom. Monster book. Spiders. Niffler.
Now Niffler was the one that was going to potentially find us gold. Okay. So some weirdness there. Here you have a pink-haired character that I assume is just a random character that just stands out by having pink hair. I mean purple hair. And then you can just walk back here on the stage. You can't interact with the headmistress. This is just a player character. Then you've got some interesting looking food. Perhaps just too many purple haired and green haired characters. But obviously not a lot of characters in general. They don't want to have a huge crowd for no real reason. It looks like I've found everything, and it looks like you're basically getting shopkeepers or challenge characters standing around in different areas. Probably would make a little bit more sense if interact was either Q or E or even D. F is 2 steps away from the WASD. Well, I guess F is 1 step away, but I'm personally just not used to playing with WASD on anything. And it feels really weird that there wasn't a launch here with default, just like Xbox controller support. So, the thing we want to figure out is what's the deal with broomsticks, and how is that going to change
and then freedom,
things.
soaring higher and higher. I can't wait.
Still a really long pause,
You're muttering to yourself.
but maybe not as long as it was before.
Was I? Sorry. I'm just excited about flying lessons. You must be too.
It seems like the pause is much more reasonable if you were just reading, if the audio was
Actually,
off.
I don't know much about flying on broomsticks at all.
But it feels like there should be a way to speed that up.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get you started right now.
And every time we get into another one of these tutorial sections, it feels like we are straight up going to be doing a completely different mechanic and a completely different minigame.
Off we go on our little adventure through the castle gate ahead.
Still wish there was lip flaps going on here. Or even if there wasn't lip flaps, I wish that you would just zoom in on Robin on one side and your custom character on the other, and just have a standard visual novel conversation where the camera is very much zoomed in. Now it looks like my character again was just floating, even though we heard some footsteps sound effects there. Speaking of audio, yes, the Harry Potter music is getting content ID'd, but they're not taking any of the ad revenue potentially that one could get from this. So far it seems like this would be streamable on that aspect as a series. But to contrast that thought, it is incredibly not streamable on the aspect of how difficult it is to just get this to record or stream. Like, the fact that I'm having to jump through a lot of hoops not worth mentioning to make these recordings, and then edit out the beginning and the end of these recordings to hide all the hoops I'm jumping through, just makes it completely unreasonable as far as a potential game that I would play in the long run. This is more of what I was expecting, really, is that you would have a lot more opportunity to run around Hogwarts outside and inside. And at this point, there probably should be a one-to-one model that many games could potentially use. That's one of the things that Lego Harry Potter failed at too, is that they never really gave you open world concepts. Although in all fairness, Lego games were very late to the party to have any open world elements. Man, we are just getting really, really far from the castle. There's the Quidditch flying around on brooms. The movies, and I assume the books are similar to the movies, don't really draw a very interesting Hogwarts castle outside exterior. I think it is designed to be this magical place that is outside of reality in its own little pocket magic universe, and as such there's like a magical forest in one way, and there's a Quidditch place and things like that, and it kind of makes it feel like the entire magical world is oddly in parallel to the Muggle world. I have no idea what button I just pressed. I hit E, and I guess that's a moat. That was not what I meant to hit, though. So how do I get rid of that? Just click on it? Let's see what Q does. Q does absolutely nothing, it seems. Maybe it changes your quest, or re-highlights your quest. There's not really quite enough detail, though. I mean, it's nice to wander around here, but there's literally nothing you can do other than find these little caches of rewards, which are giving me small bits of rewards here and there, or see some random students that don't really interact with you in any way. Let's see. Seems like there might be a class being taught by the headmistress here, but then you have this problem in which these three male characters, while they're in different house uniforms, basically have the exact same face, and it's way too much repetitiveness. What was that? Oh, well, almost seems like these two are passing a cigarette between each other, but instead they're just doing kind of awkward animations while they've been programmed to sit. And it's interesting that they're slightly cross-legged as they're sitting. It doesn't seem to always be the case for all the female characters. And the males are manspreading, for lack of a better term. A lot of animations, of course, in any game you have to make. There's that tree that hit the car. Here's the greenhouse. Here's the horticultural lady, I think is how you describe it. And I guess there's just more than one greenhouse. So that it almost seems like at one level this is all the game was going to be, is just you can walk around here. What happens if we inspect this? Just get more rewards. Well, it does seem like you can go into the herpetology classroom. Here's the dance club, which I also definitely want to try and engage with. And so you definitely have two options here. You see the game as a card game where you can run around and find more resources to get more cards, or you see the game as a light RPG game, almost like a just tourist game where you're running around Hogwarts, trying to see all you can see. Yeah, Hogwarts Castle, as depicted here, is just not really impressive enough. Feels like there should be a lot more. And then the kind of lake, and being surrounded by a lake and then a bunch of mountains and magical forests, is just kind of dull. It feels like, particularly if you're setting this in the future, you either start to see Hogwarts expand and there be a lot more buildings and things outside of it, or even Magic Society expand and there just being more buildings right next to Hogwarts. That's just a branch. You see over here it looks like there's absolutely nothing, and I just hit an invisible wall. I don't feel like it improves this game much either if all of a sudden they did expand this forest and it was just more trees and random encounters with random people. See, I don't understand why this lantern would be here if you can't interact with it. But it does just kind of seem like this either is going to just load into a whole nother area, or it's curving around just to take you to a lower section. Which, yeah, it feels like it's just curving around to take you to a lower section. Again, we'll try the shift, and now shift works. On a fundamental level, this game is just broken. Buttons don't work at certain places. Wandering around doesn't make enough sense, doesn't make it worth it. I've spent 30 minutes basically wandering around this entire area for minimal reward. I think this is where we started. I would say it's probably would have been better if you never actually went inside of Hogwarts. You can see like this Great Hall image looks like you're just walking directly into the Great Hall. So if the open world section was starting here and you always wandered around to doors and then the doors loaded immediately into the next area and there just were no hallways, that might work a lot better. It also make a lot of sense if you started right here at this square with a duel so that you would get into the dueling aspect a lot quicker. Then you get sent to Diagon Alley to play dress up and go through a lot more of those tutorial things.
First, hold out your hand and call to your broom. Up.
Up? It's not something like levitato or something?
Now.
Press X to fly with your broomstick. So WASD, now X.
See?
And that just
Easy,
immediately summons a broomstick. Alright. So, let me ask a question here.
Follow me.
Well, we'll fly around and then we'll ask that question later. I assume you can only summon the broomstick outside too. Okay.
Look to the horizon if you're ever feeling scared. It'll help.
So this is WASD.
Over there.
There was like a mermaid. Like, the mouse cursor really doesn't seem like it needs to be around here. And honestly, this is pretty much just a cutscene, because I've taken my hand off of the off the keyboard now. I'm not pressing any buttons. So this is an in-game cutscene. Me pressing W does not seem to speed up. So no such thing, I guess, as play interference in Quidditch.
Excellent control! I gotta say, you did it! That was brilliant! You're the best student I've ever had!
So I took my hand off the controller and the keyboard very quickly.
My only other one was Kevin, so...
Yeah, it seems like what you really would benefit from is a group photo or something with names under it, or a school directory would be very nice. In this case, a magical school directory that had moving photos.
Wanna go again?
We'll go with no thanks, I'm good.
Well, what a view from here, eh? I wish I had a camera to capture the moment.
It is kind of interesting. There's no screenshot mode. I have no idea, though, why all of a sudden this would pop up. Events complete yearbook stories for Ruby Keys. 2 yearbook stories. Enrollment deal, which is Ruby Keys.
Daisy, buttermellow. Turn this stupid fat rat yellow. Wingardium Leviosa.
A new adventurer.
Keep going, mate. Don't
Sounds
give up.
like it's its own story. Is this supposed to be Harry Potter?
Sunshine, Daisy, buttermellow. Turn this stupid fat rat yellow. Wingardium
Sounds like Ron
Leviosa.
Weasley, actually. That's really loud. Complete yearbook story 1-2 to unlock this. This date seems like it's somewhat accurate too, as far as the events go. Okay. So W facing downward seems like it makes you fly downward. Facing upward has you fly upward. So the question here is, if I put on a dress, how does that dress work? I guess it works that way, just clipping directly through the dress. If you're wearing a skirt, how does the skirt work? Looks like it's that way. Okay, let's confirm this. Let's hit X. And then that will drop me down, and then let's press X again. Yep. Skirts and dresses just clip. Completely no physics on that, didn't even think about that. Which, yeah, I think that's probably just more evidence that there was not a lot of thought put into this. The camera is right up your backside if you're going straight up, but it doesn't zoom in very much. So I wouldn't really complain too much. It does seem like you can fly perhaps quite further than you can walk as far as invincible walls, but obviously there's kind of nothing there. And unless there were rings or something to fly through to get resources, it kind of feels like there isn't the best. Is that a mermaid or a seahorse or what? I don't know. Some kind of creature you can't interact with. It doesn't feel like caches of items to inspect are easier to find when flying around. You can chase squirrels. Does just seem like you have to be kind of close to the ground if you're going to continue to fly around and inspect things. Guess this is just a boathouse, which you'd half expect there to be something you could inspect around there. Some collectible on the inside of it. But no. I feel like these rewards are just going to infinitely spawn. So if you are really willing to grind it out, I think you're totally capable of potentially unlocking most of the cards a little early. And I honestly don't know if that changes too much. Got stuck in between the trees there. It might be that the treasure chests in particular are not things that respawn. So this is an RPG movement mechanic as far as broomsticks are concerned. It really has nothing to do... Interesting. This tree is totally just floating in the air. I think that's a glitch. And then that just hits an invisible wall. Yeah, it seems to have nothing to do with the actual card game aspect. Would there be anything secret to find on the outer ring of the Quidditch tent? Interesting. It seems like you should be able to walk in there, but no. It really is creating a situation where the trees are in the way. There's just nobody watching or spectating the Quidditch that's going on. I just don't think the game is really that sneaky as far as hiding stuff. We might get on the tops of buildings and find something, but I'm not really seeing anything even there. Let's assume that this is the headmistress's office, highest point in the wizard tower castle. Might be some areas in between that are difficult to reach without flying. They might have some rewards. Or it might just be a case that it is all... I kind of feel like this tree should just attack you. Hagrid's hut is another place. So Hagrid's hut at this location I think leads to the Dark Forest, which we're not ready to engage with that yet. Okay. And here we have a character just floating, which I assume this is some kind of glitch. Alright. Alt, click on this. It's done. We have another task received. Interesting. When I clicked on head to the herpetology class, it immediately put me on the room to fly. So let's go here and see what we'll see here. Talk to Professor Longbottom at the herpetology classroom. Neville Longbottom. Is that a case where one of the students became
I'm glad
a
you're here. I could use your
teacher?
help watering a few plants.
Right, so now we're getting another side quest that doesn't feel like it's going to involve the card game either.
Sure. Do you have a watering can?
Why does my character have lip flaps when the other characters tend not to? Why is this game so
Just use the
inconsistent?
Aguamenti charm.
Okay, so if it's an important cutscene, you get lip flaps, I guess.
I know it's a bit advanced, but Professor Flitwick mentioned he was going to introduce it earlier this year. Here's your chance to practice.
All right. I'll give it a go.
I really am off put by the visual style differences here. Like, if you want to make a like cutesy anime, I'd say shonen might be a good description to characters and set them in the Harry Potter universe, fine. But then you can't have Neville Longbottom and Harry Potter and Hermione Granger and all the main characters look the way they did and were described everywhere else. They would have to have their own new designs too to match. Right, inspect this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. So apparently I did it wrong. So let's talk to Professor.
Offer him a treat or two as a peace offering before he decides to gouge out your eyes.
But I mean, this is just a great example here. You have a Western style of animation that feels more in line with what you would do for Harry Potter, and then you have anime girl custom character here. And then you have less cared about custom characters in the background that still are more in the anime color palette compared to Neville
There's some bone
Longbottom.
truckle feeding you those old flower pots that Hagrid dropped off earlier. Careful though, I found a few gnomes hiding in the pots. I got most of them, but there might be a few left.
Seems like the text might be a little too low on the screen too. It seems like they're clipping off some pixels. So yeah, this is just like busy work. And then troll immediately shows up and spawns right next to you, so you're clipping.
And also a gnome.
Yeah, they definitely did a good job by not promoting
Come
this
here,
as a
you.
card game, because it totally really isn't. But they've done a horrible job of potentially... What is this? Oh, we do now have a camera option. I could have sworn they would have made a better explanation that you would unlock the camera option. So we have to battle these gnomes. So then we have to load into the battle section. No sound effects apparently playing at all as the gnomes spawn and as our character reacts. Use Augmenti on the gnomes. It's another tutorial battle. Sure, we shouldn't aim for those guys first, but whatever. You can move while casting Augmenti. Left click on the ground to move towards more opponents. So she just constantly casts Augmenti. No, it seems like it ran out. That clearly a more difficult
Ventus. Augmente.
alpha gnome. Are these guys weak to water, or are they specifically weak to Augmente?
Troll. Augmente.
And then there's a bomb.
Niffler.
We'll send Niffler to investigate while we're doing other things. And then
Spider.
just continue to throw things out and make this a very crazy fight. Yeah, I feel like that whole battle system and that whole idea probably should just fall to the wayside. And this is true for a lot of RPG games, where I would really prefer to just see a no-load battle happen in the area you're already in. So even if it's something simplistic where the gnome just spawned and then you just clicked on it a couple of times and that just happened more often, I'd prefer that than having to look at a load screen, having to go into a deep, longer battle.
I'm sorry about the water. Here's a treat for you.
Again, I really question what the voice acting would sound like if I'd picked the male character. And it's crazy you can't switch it. Lets out a sound of satisfaction, apparently. This creature does, even though it's not playing. I think the audio's glitching.
That was quite a big treat. I think you made a friend for life.
Yeah, it's really crazy in the Harry Potter universe that you wouldn't be able to eat some kind of candy, do some kind of spell, and swap genders. In fact, I kind of feel like
you never know what might
there
be lurking
was
under the next leaf.
something like that in the Harry Potter books at some point, where Hermione swaps genders and becomes a boy for a brief scene, or they swap bodies or something. Any of that would make some sense. Alright, so we finished another quest. So we've gotten Augmente now. So now we want to talk to the headmistress Mongrel. I don't know why we're talking to the headmistress and why we're teleporting to that when it looked like we could have just walked to the dance club. The kids seem like they mostly are still in school uniforms, but it does seem like they have like fancier scarves on. And our character is just doing the kind of chuckle animation. Our main characters all seem to be here except for Ivy, which they've really forgotten about Ivy here. So that gives me the feeling that we probably could choose to dance with anybody, and how serious the dancing is or how romantic the dancing is may be up for interpretation, or may be fairly varied. This feels like this is a room that's not really shown in the Harry Potter movies that I remember. I know there was a dance hall, but it felt like it was bigger, better, brightly lit. This seems a little dim. If anything, this gives off the feeling a lot more like the room of requirement than a proper bespoke dance hall section. We're seeing the real player characters popping in and popping out quite a bit. And I don't know if having real characters wander around is doing anything at all to improve this game. If anything, I think the game would probably run better and just in general be easier to program for if you were the only person running around in the overworld. Here we have another character that's more in of a suit or boarding school that you might see as far as an outfit in Japan or in the UK, not a Harry Potter style sweater and scarves and robes. Although if this was more leaning towards a UK style boarding school, how did he cause that to happen? If this was more of a UK style outfit, it would probably have at least a jumper, as they call it, sweater, because it would be so cold. So, no voice acting here on this cutscene, so apparently this isn't as important. Why, hello, Rydo. I'm pleased to see you've joined us. I was excited to hear this club existed. Seems like anytime they want to mention your name, then you don't get voice acting. They might as well have just not allowed me to have a custom name at that point. I was excited to hear this club exists. Oh, so you have some previous experience. I missed half of that sentence before. Again, just completely different animation style than what you've got with this character. And, well, sort of. I used to watch my parents waltz in the living room. My mom tried to teach me a few steps, but this is the first mention of our custom character's parents. So there is some backstory they're willing to give our custom character, but you worry you may not have all the right moves. Question mark. But yeah, when random characters, other players can just stand in front of you and they're in the cutscene, that doesn't make any sense at all. Well, nothing to be nervous about. I created this club to help everyone with a passion for dancing find their feet, so to speak. I was so inspired by the impact that the Tri-Wizard Yule Ball had on the school's morale that I knew I had to make dancing a regular event. Interesting. The irony here is that there may be some highly conservative parents that have made their peace with Harry Potter and may complain about the idea of a Harry Potter game promoting dancing. So you enjoy dancing as well, Professor? Question mark. Enjoy it, why dear child. I may not look it, but I was quite a sprightly lass in my day. I loved waltzing among almost as much as I enjoyed turning mice into teacups. I look forward to learning more. And you will. During the week, the club practices their dances. And on the weekend, we offer more formal performances in front of your classmates. It's the perfect opportunity to let your skills shine. I almost wonder if the dance club is something you will have to engage with no matter whether you like it or not, because it will increase your it'll increase your movement elements. It's interesting. The default choice here is that sounds intimidating. Let's go with that. Sounds like fun. Oh, it is indeed. Perhaps you can start by speaking to your friends. I could use your enthusiasm to get them on the dance floor. I'll see what I can do. Thanks, Professor. And what would be really weird is if all of a sudden we get voice acted lines in the same scenario, in the same area. Hi, Robin. Are you having fun? Somewhat, though. I wouldn't even be here if Robin hadn't forced me to come. So you're talking to Robin and Kevin at the same time, because Kevin responded to a question directed at Robin. Oh, don't listen to him. He's having a blast. Wow, that's a lot of emotion and actions there, as far as animations go. So maybe Robin and Kevin are being set up as potential romantic partners. It wasn't until you stepped on my toes. I wouldn't even be surprised if it turns out that these two are, like, related.
Aww.
You said you didn't feel a thing. I didn't. After the first time, my toes were quite numb at that point. I guess next time I'll just have to find another partner. Speaking of, Rydo, did you have someone picked out to dance with? Let's go with I'm nervous to ask. Why don't you try Daniel or Cassandra? They're your friends, and they look like they're still waiting for a partner. So Kevin and Robin aren't my friends? Like, really, we haven't interacted with any of these people to call them friends, but you might as well assume the best. That's a great idea. See you on the dance floor. Yeah, I'll be the one limping. So these two are dance partners, and I'm still going to open up on the thought that they are also supposed to be your friends. Even my character though is like heavily far too animated. And the camera angles are terrible. Oh, stop whining. Okay. So there seems to be no gendered lines here. Let's invite Cassandra. Cassandra is Slytherin. Daniel, I have no idea what class he's in. He's always in this different outfit, and it seems like he's always facing away from you. But for an experiment here, I want to see if the female models can dance with the female presenting models and what that looks like. So, we have an amazing deal being popped up to us in the middle of tutorializing, and this game is just getting worse and worse about advertisements. And in it, we can buy the enrollment pack, show your relaxed casual side with this supply pack of nightshade, an oversized jumper with a tied lace details, the enigmatic colors evoke the image of a forest at night. Is that what that's supposed to be? Because to me that looks like a bunny, and that definitely is a bunny necklace. So you have a bunny necklace choker and a relaxed sweater, and then there black shoes and socks, and you get a black skirt if you're a female character, and you get purplish pants. I guess you get slightly different bunny choker if you're a male character, and slightly different shoes. 680 rubies or jewels seems like a really large amount, though. Like, let's just see. How can we go to the store here? We have 0 of those. Yeah. Insane. Did this just roll over as I was playing? Maybe. It does say 29 days and 23 hours, so maybe that's something that just unlocked as a purchase.
Daisy, buttermellow. Turn this stupid fat rat.
But yeah, their focus here seems to be incredibly high on the idea of increasing purchases and ways to purchase things before we're even close to we're even close to understanding what the game really is. This is another area also where it just doesn't seem like you can run first. I was doing a very slow walk, and then when I hit shift, it broke me out into a more reasonable walk and run. There's a weird dance floor here, though, and I may have screwed myself up here because I don't think I can get off the dance floor. And I can't bring the broom up. Alright, so I was able to run down the stairs, but not walk down the stairs. So we'll invite her to dance. She's the only character even on the screen at this point. Everybody despawned otherwise. Let's just see what this is.
To save us both from embarrassment, I'm going to give you a little guidance. Listen carefully, because I'm only going to say this once.
So, one of the things to question here is if I had the biggest, poofiest dress and she had the biggest, poofiest dress, will it clip into each other? While dancing, simply hit the buttons to the beat of the music. Ooh, I am tone deaf, so this could be very difficult for me. Use headphones for the best experience. Clearly, this is a minigame designed for mobile phones, not PC people who very likely won't have headphones. I have headphones on, but most people don't. Alright. Tap the beat once. Try to aim for exactly when the circles overlap. Okay, I don't think we're there yet. Use the arrow keys can also be used. So WASD or arrow keys. The timing is perfect. Tap on the yellow button now. I'm hitting A, which would be left, and it's not working. So maybe you have to hit the arrow keys, which this would be the second time I've had to jump between WSD and arrow keys. Yeah. Tapping on the correct buttons in succession will increase your combo count and overall score. You've got this. The arrow keys can also be used.
You did a lot better than I expected.
So it's saying tap, but
Impressed.
it doesn't seem like you can actually click with the mouse to do that tap. Now it's now time to practice what you've learned. So this is just Dance Dance Revolution with keyboards, which is in no way close to what Dance Dance Revolution really would have been in the arcade. And that's why those kinds of dancing games never worked on consoles or PCs, is because you would have to buy a mat and have enough square footage to play the games on the mat, and the games are really more gimmick games that you really wouldn't want to just play in your house unless you're a particularly large fan. Now weirdly, I think I have to click OK here. So we have a waltz, cloud top, steps. So there may be multiple songs / dances. So you have this bow, take my hand, and then they do the animation again. And then their hands are somewhat hovering. Moving a little too fast. What sucks about this is you don't have the opportunity to just watch the dance, and I kind of would prefer it to be a cutscene or possibly a way to rewatch this without playing. And this is potentially going to get to a point where the timing can be a little off and you won't know whether you're supposed to hit the left or the right first. And this is incredibly easy. It almost feels like if you're playing this on a cell phone, they might have wanted you to tilt your phone left and right. Maybe it gets a little bit more difficult and you have an up and down later. But with drastically different colors on the left and right, it's pretty easy to figure it out. So I got an S score, and you can see, yes, two females can dance. There's a lot of hovering and non-interaction as far as where the hands go. The hands aren't directly touching the body models, which is probably something that should be mentioned, in that it feels like the body models, as far as the general framework of both the female and the male characters, are about the same. We didn't have the possibility of changing waist sizes, heights, bust sizes, hip sizes, or anything like that. So there really is no reason why this couldn't be closer. So it would look like you actually were touching. And there's really no reason why these hands couldn't really look like they're more intertwined. I imagine there aren't too many real schools or high schools or that have dance classes. But dance like this, ballroom dance classes, at least. That would be awkward. Of course, in Hogwarts you do have just potentially a level of protection that you can give these kids. They can nearly die and then be brought back through magic. And when you're not really concerned about your kids dying or falling in love or being romantic and that ruining their lives because they have magic, then you could probably loosen up. Although, in all fairness, in Harry Potter stories, all the parents were almost certainly terrified of Voldemort, so I'm surprised as many kids originally were ever sent to Hogwarts, but there definitely was a point in the movies where a lot of students were not sent back to Hogwarts after a certain year because of a Voldemort attack. Anyways, I got an S rank on the Waltz Cloud Top Steps, giving me a score of 29,480, which apparently is equally split between both characters. So I assume at some point maybe you have to do this, or you could do this with real world people, and then the score would be split that way. I got 55 perfects, 4 excellence, and 2 failed. It seems like it's more difficult to get a good than it is to get a fail, and that's 96.7% accuracy, and that's really, really good for me. I wouldn't be surprised if I straight up failed or got 50% accuracy if they started throwing an up, down, left, and right, and if they started moving a little bit faster. Although, in all fairness, this is supposed to be a kid's game, so maybe they wouldn't ever get that way. We've been given a red firework, which seems like yet another currency, and Madam's student coupon, which looks like yet another item. And we've still yet to see anything that looks like crafting, where these items we're collecting might lead to something else. It's interesting that Cassandra is willing to dance with you when she comes off fairly antagonistic otherwise. And so I guess you just hit V here and get a new reward. So here's your standard uniform. Which, yeah, let's just go ahead and equip it. Our collection is getting more and more unlocked. And several more things, so not worth mentioning. Fireworks can now be viewed in your knapsack. Tap on fireworks. Select fireworks to unleash. Are these one-time uses? Okay. So we now know how we saw the fireworks before. And we can see this is now expanding quite a bit. And we have a camera. And we're not unlocking any more of these emblems. Well, you can just straight up load a picture, I guess. That's gonna be a mistake, unless other players can't see this. Like, you're gonna very quickly get something very offensive in there. Okay. Main story, the night Ivy West went missing. I hit V and that just fast traveled me, but also we had a pop-up.
I'm so spent, but somehow I can't fall asleep. I've heard that Ivy is still missing. Where could she be?
Yep.
I can't wait anymore. The more people looking for her, the more hope she'll have of being found.
Look for Ivy by pressing V. And pressing V sometimes teleports you and sometimes doesn't. So we now just have our owl sitting on a different thing. And so is this just a stuffed owl, I guess? No roommates still in our dormitory. It doesn't seem like you're really going to decorate your dormitory by much. There's really not enough room here. You'd kind of expect if there was going to be a crafting element, it would be this cauldron in the middle, and all your resources would be visible somehow. But then it's just load screen, then next cutscene, next load screen. You have a lighting issue here once again, where
Who's that?
my character
Watch where you point that thing.
is
Oh, Robin.
a dark-skinned of African descent lady, and yet
Right, same as you.
her makeup
Buddy
is
sent
still
me a note
making
by
her
owl.
look very
Come
light.
on, we're meeting in the library.
Of course, not as pale
Everyone is
as this other character looks.
Everyone?
And I guess most white British people probably are fairly pale. You don't get a lot of sunlight in the UK. Or in Britain. So everybody is now going somewhere else. And apparently we can't go any further. Alright. So into the library we go. Why make me walk through all of that just for another loading screen?
Is this everyone?
Kevin, why are you the only one here? Where's Daniel?
He's over there by the bookshelf.
On the first night? Are you mad? If trying to learn things at school is mad, then I suppose I am.
Young wizard who prefers... Wow, we're getting introduced to
Is
Daniel
everybody ready
at
to
this
look for
point?
Ivy? She hasn't returned to the dorm yet, so she must still be lost somewhere in the castle.
I'm not sure. Is it safe?
Absolutely not. Don't listen to him. It's perfectly safe. I don't want detention. Just leave me out of it.
Looks like we're getting some visual glitches on the
What about you,
table
Kevin?
back there.
Are you with us? We could definitely use someone as clever as you to help find Ivy.
Oh, thanks for the compliment. I think. I suppose I could give it a go.
So Cassandra's not going to show up, and the other Slytherin characters are not going to show up. And Daniel's too much of a coward. Although, it kind of comes off more like Daniel's going to be, maybe, possessed by somebody. Looks like there's some black shadows causing reflections. And bad lighting systems. So, it seems pretty obvious that there's just like two different teams. One that made the main story and one that made all these tutorial sections as far as the dance and all that. And clearly we should have stayed on the main story path, but the game wouldn't let me.
What's that over there?
I don't know why they're assuming that Ivy is still, or ever was in Hogwarts. Okay.
Spiders! Troll! Monster book! All the water!
See, you're just kind of always just doing the same thing as far as the actual game.
Monster book.
Really would make so much sense to get rid of this part. But it would also make a lot of sense to get rid of the... What is this? E.
What do you want?
Apparently we can summon these two characters. I don't know if we need to summon these two characters, but...
Niffler. Orb of water.
Your magic doesn't really carry over between fights.
I can see how Ivy managed to get lost. These corridors seem to go on forever.
We need to be careful, or we'll get lost too.
Put out that light. Wizards are trying to sleep.
Excuse me, but did you happen to see a first-year student come through here tonight?
Not until this very moment. But the next time Mr. Filch wanders by, I'll tell him I saw 3.
Found them! Found them, I did! The 3 lost firsties are lost no more, now that I found them on the 5th floor!
Shut up!
Hang on. 3? Only supposed to be 1 lost little firstie.
We're not lost. We're looking for Ivy.
Ho ho ho! You're heroes! Very gallant! Shall we test your mettle?
I have no idea why you would have this floating clown character. This definitely feels more in line with what the game probably should have always been. Just... Did I summon an enemy character? Why would I summon a character that would fight? Why would I want more of a challenge?
Ventus. Troll. Niffler.
I still don't really understand how this whole system works. This guy seems like he's stronger than most. He's got a lot of health on him. I guess maybe he's a fire-based attacker, but my orb of water doesn't seem like it's doing that much damage to him. Then you just have these very abrupt endings of the fights. At a real level,
Where are we?
I kind of would just prefer this to be a visual novel or a cartoon.
Lost. Just like you are.
Yeah. Yeah, if this was just a Netflix series
What are you doing here?
that was a cartoon,
Making sure you
and you
don't
were
lose us
showing me
any
just the
house
main
points.
story,
Now let's go before we get caught.
I guess he is a Hufflepuff.
You can
Character.
look for her on the way back. Let's go.
Wait, did you hear that?
I wonder
think
if
someone's coming.
he's always in the same house as your main custom character.
It's the caretaker, Mr. Filch.
Run!
If he's always in the same house that you are in, then that does run the risk of having to swap some of the other characters as far as what houses they're in.
Phew, I think we lost him. Where are we?
Looks like a classroom.
Although it's such a mess, there was a sign on the door that said keep out.
And you ignored it? Are you trying to get us killed?
Relax, Daniel. I'm sure there's nothing dangerous in here.
I wonder if they named Daniel after Daniel Radcliffe,
What do you call that?
the actor who played Harry Potter.
What is it? I can't
Although
see.
there's a certain level,
I can fix that. Inforgio!
I think they are going to pretty much abandon any of the actors or actresses in the Harry Potter movies originally. If they're going to remake the series, again, they'll have to have all new kid actors, I would assume. Drag to summon a companion. Each companion card can only be
I'm
used
really
once per
looking
battle.
forward to this. I can do it with my eyes closed.
So there goes Robin. So that is a companion card.
Magical move!
The fact that you just get these musical elements when you play that one card is going to eventually push me to stop playing that card.
Acromantula venom. Ventus. Troll.
I'm just trying to play everything and nothing is working. I don't know if that's because there's a cooldown on everything or if I just don't have enough magic. Noticeably here though, there's been no need. The girl's missing now too.
Where's Robin?
Run off, of course. She's going to get caught, I'm sure of it.
Like, there's been no need whatsoever to change your deck. Wow,
It's
look
very
how
easy to get lost in
poorly
here.
that's animated.
Come on, let's try
And
this
that
way.
this is a in-engine cutscene, but I'm also not doing anything. Interesting that you have a
Well,
painting there
at
with
least we get to
trolls.
see some of the castle's more unique tapestries. Trolls learning ballet. Very strange.
Hush up, will you? I'm trying to think.
Why are you pacing back and forth?
It helps me think.
The lost girl is not gonna magically appear just because... Was that door there before?
No? What do you think is in there?
Only one way to find out.
Yeah. These cutscenes, if they were animated well, would be fine to make a good
Oh my! Daniel? I
cartoon.
don't believe it. Ivy!
But they're
been looking
being
everywhere
very
for
poorly
you.
used in the video game.
Really? Thank you
Which
so
is
much.
to say the game
I
part
so
is
badly wanted
very
to be
poor.
found.
Weird place. Why'd you come here, Ivy?
I don't know. I think I was looking for something. All I remember is lots of hallways and stairs, and then... I can't be sure, but I think someone was following me. Following you? Did you see who it was? No. But it felt like someone was always just behind me, looking over my shoulder. I'm probably just being silly. My Nana says I'm like that sometimes.
Whatever happened, we can figure that out later. Right now, we should get back before we run
I
into
don't-
any more trouble.
Ivy was never sorted into a
Come
house.
on, Ivy. If we can avoid Mr. Filch and Peeves, we should avoid getting detention. Is
And
this your trunk?
she had, like,
That's not
forgetfulness.
It must have been here when I came in. There are initials on it. WW. Definitely not mine.
Leave it then. Let's go.
So we're getting just like a tease of what is going on as far as the main story. And then we're just like really put back to where we were. Again, another reward, and it seems like anytime you receive a reward, you are being prompted to purchase something more. So now we have this hat. It's kind of hard to see the hat though, and you can't drag the character around to see her hat or spin her around or anything, so I'll just equip it. And I guess the question whenever you have a dress-up game like this is how crazy can you get the outfits, and it doesn't seem like you can get that crazy. You can mix hats and outfits, but you can't mix like tops or coats and skirts and shoes and things like that. So yeah, once again, this enrollment pack, which I assume is just like your first pack they try to sell you, they want you to spend 680 jewels on. And then new students sign in, daily rewards, daily bonus of a thing. So we're getting just like more prompts. Alright. And so now we're being sold yet another thing where we could get a premium card back and a premium outfit, level 1, level 40, maybe. I don't know what this is supposed to be, a robe or what? Necklace, glasses, hat. Plus you can get 16 silver keys, 8 gold keys, and 666 gold. They've really squeezed these characters in the middle here, and you can only either click back or more, and you can barely even see the back button. They're putting them in this interesting kind of floral design, and then the animations of these two characters don't seem like they're particularly synchronized. So premium magic packs for $20 gets you all of this as you level up the free spirit clothing and a Memoria card. Or the deluxe magic pass gives you only level 1 of this, and then a prep school fantasy action. I don't know really what that is. Legendary cards. I assume you get everything in deluxe in the premium, since premium means more than deluxe and is $10 more. And look, they're even showing you what you would look like in this free spirit element. So as far as this reward as far as the season pass or battle pass or whatever this would be called, we've on the free level earned this, so we can claim that, and we haven't done that. We've also done this level 1 and this level 2, but they didn't show us any of this. This really is just a prime example of a terrible game that's trying to suck as much money out of you as possible. And this is supposed to be a kids game, remember this. So whenever you hear those stories of kids spending thousands of dollars in mobile games, they are certainly making it easy. On some levels, if you have the deluxe, you will get multiple rewards, but on base level, on free, you get a reward for every level up to, I bet, about 64. Let's see how high it goes. It goes up to level 50. Now, if there was a way to purchase deluxe without spending real world money, in some games that's very doable. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel has a system that is very doable where you spend gems that you earn from doing daily quests to unlock deluxe, and then as long as you get up to level 50 you earn back the exact same amount of gems, if not more. So it is always very, very doable to be a free-to-play player and still unlock the deluxe version of this. The premium version here is not even being really shown. Get points, what would that do? Function locked. Interesting. But it seems like in this case, there's no way to do that. $666 Jills would be somewhere around $7 to get that pass. Yeah, we can go ahead and purchase Phoenix. Complete the purchase by exchanging 150,000 coins. That's not what it says. Then it says insufficient resources. Oh, I'm misreading this. I'm at 5,950. This one's 20,000. Increases the effects of your echoes for 900. Still not really sure what an echo is though.
Sunshine, Daisy.
So they want you to spend $7 on this, $5 on this, so that's up to 12. They'd like you to, let's see, spend this currency, so you have to buy more of that later. They'd like you to spend a lot there too, but even that stuff, it's not even there because you have a whole another element here where they'd like you to purchase this for another $20, so we're at like $27 minimum that they would like you to spend. Speed up as a function. Upgrade to level 4 for the following rewards: a trade token and potentially some of this currency, which is not worth it. And then we have a whole season thing here with some new stuff. So we have done the main story. Single-use key with colors are vivid as a phoenix flame has been created specifically for the use of magical studies. Obtained via purchasing with gems. So 2,000 gems and 5 ruby keys. If we can get to the yearbook 1, 2. Eventually this whole thing would first year initiation social club. So there's just a lot of story here and it's just a really slow process through all of this. And then yearbook story 1, 2 would unlock this, so there's still just a lot of stuff unlocking and a lot of links that are just going to a lot of different things. Join NPG class NetEase Gamer Premium, become a NetEase, not NetEase, member, claim new membership rewards. So NetEase is definitely trying to get your email address, at least there. If not, it says you can sign up for free. use the map to quickly go to the social club page. Okay, so we now see that there is a map here, and so some of the open world stuff really doesn't need to exist. And there's a Diagon Alley section. Does that say Zondor? I don't know what that is. There's Hogsmeade Tavern, and then there's Hogwarts, as far as different locations. Currently not available, coming soon. This is where Diagon Alley is. With several more buildings, it seems like, that you could interact with. And then Zondor, Gondor, whatever it is, also seems like something you can't click on. So we've done the Dueling Club, we've done the Dance Club, we've flied around the castle skies, we've been into the dormitory. Yeah, even on this map though, you can see how Hogwarts is not particularly the most interesting area, just a lot of forested sections where it feels like you could take Diagon Alley and just expand it out more and more. And how much of this city that's being shown on this map is actually magical only areas, and how much of this is actually sections that are Muggle areas. There is something new to the Dueling Club. If you look at the main tower, it's also a library. The headmistress is the Great Tower, Great Hall Corridor, bathroom, Hogwarts. So I assume this is the inside stuff. It just feels unnecessary. There's quite a lot going on there. Okay, social club. Participate in social events with other members. Hogwarts students can quickly make friends by joining a social club of their choice. Okay. So, I assume these are just actual social club groups. And weirdly, seems like you can do some pretty detailed decoration here. You have a Latino, you have a 2-key room, I don't know what that really means. You have Galaxy. They all say all under it, so I'd assume that means everyone's able to enter. You seem like each social club has like 50 spots. Ajin. Yeah. This is what I'm thinking is happening here, is either you can create your own art through using a sticker system, or there is a real way to just upload your own images, which, yeah, that's dangerous. MX Potterheads. This one is in Asian writing. This one says English only, which might be better to be in a group that's English only. This definitely feels like it's a sticker system. We may go ahead and just see what it's like to create a club. So you're presented with several pages, but not an infinite page. So edit poster. This, so you can pick from several scenes in the background, which this is all stuff that's probably too much work. And you can pick from several characters. Rotate the characters. Mirror the characters. Although it seems like you can really only have one figure as a character. If you're going to go down that route. These look like these might be characters we haven't seen yet. Then you can add some text. Then you can add multiple stickers. So then can you add multiple characters? Now it seems like you can only have one character. So they're probably trying to avoid the idea of taking, say, one character and then putting it directly on top of another character in some kind of awkward position. But nothing really stopping you from doing that with stickers. So if we say wanted to take this character and then stick our head in that, we can do that. This is a surprising amount of polish, though. Just a really, really large amount of polish in an aspect that just doesn't feel like it needs to exist. The craziness here is that there is the beginnings of a good game, or at least a good cartoon to tell a story, and it feels like there might very well be a decent story to tell here for kids, but it's just layered in so much microtransactions and so much garbage, and I really don't think I can go much further on this. Several Dobby stickers. It's just a ridiculous amount of stickers here. That went on forever. Okay. Go to the social club, auto join a club. Application sent. You've successfully joined social club something. Whatever. Enrollment season. Talk to the headmistress at the Great Hall. Would be the next step. So now we are in the Harry Potter fan social club. Yeah. Okay. So what? Who cares? We have done nothing to this deck. Or nothing to our cards at all in this whole hour and 48 minutes. We're just continuously unlocking more and more stuff that's continuously further and further away from anything you should care about. And yeah, I think it really is just at a point here where we have to draw a line in the sand and say we played for 6 hours throughout this series, and every time there's been an opportunity for the game to unlock something new and show its best, put its best foot forward, it has instead just shown us yet another pattern in which they want you to pay for things, particularly pay for cards, which they seem to be completely uninterested in. Yeah. And so I just don't really feel like there's any reason to even go forward here and fast travel and talk to this enrollment season section, because I feel like even if we get past the full tutorial stuff, we are then just going to be apparently we can take a picture of a cat. What do you do to take the picture? Hit this button. Yeah, why did I just get a reward for taking a picture of a cat? I have no idea. What happens when I inspect the frogs? Clicking on the tree frogs, which have different tones and order, will create a special performance. It's recommended to wear headphones. Same old battle, same old fast travel back to the shop. Yeah, I do think there's a little bit more tutorial here. I'm just having a real hard time carrying. Like, obviously we now have even more menu items just getting added all over the place. So ideally, I just want all this heads-up display, or at least a lot of it, to go away in favor of just playing this game with a controller and running around and tapping A bunch to cast spells instead of using a card-based element fight and going into a top-down view and
Well
fighting.
done! Your performance thus far has been excellent. I must say you've exceeded my expectations.
Still an incredibly long pause between each dialogue.
Thank you, Professor.
Depending on the angle of the camera, you get a nice view of the hat, but on other angles it looks pretty bad. That's way too long of a pause. We're back to that
does
issue.
not mean you should become complacent. Your education is only just beginning.
You're also getting crazier and crazier away from Harry Potter design here. And that has that whole
At Hogwarts, you must be willing to
like
challenge
Japanese
yourself.
MMO mentality to it, in that you're going to potentially continue to sell outfits and have characters that are totally out of place visually looking for what it really should be. It probably should be much more of a case that your characters always look like they're in the school robes or in something that seems close to a school robe, instead of a sunflower hat and not having the scarf, not having the robe.
I'll do my best, Professor.
This just looks like a Japanese person outfit now, going to a Japanese school wearing a sunflower hat. It does not match with the other characters in the background. Hogwarts is amazing, and it's only been a few days, but I've accomplished so much. See, and then you get these like pop-ups, task rewards that are in the way. So this is like 6 hours into the game. This is the wrap-up of potentially the tutorial section. That being said, I still feel like you have room to buy a cauldron So we got your first robe, you got a wand. I'm still not sure how wands work. We've got an owl, I'm not sure what the owl really does. We did the sorting ceremony. We now know 34 out of 75 spells in total, so we're about halfway through. Spellbook is level 15. They explored 9 locations in the castle. We've won 2 duels. Can't wait to see what challenges await, whatever they are. I'll be ready. Tap here to view available story tasks. Tap where? This point? Task details will be displayed here. Tap here to view your daily quests or daily tasks. Tap the question mark for details. And that's just popping up a web page. This is just incredibly poorly designed. How's your first week at Hogwarts? Don't hesitate to consult me if you ever need assistance. Okay. So, talk to Robin. Seems like the only task we have to do. And so it seems like for this first section, the only thing left to do is talk to Robin. And it seems like for daily tasks, doesn't feel like there's anything left to do. Okay. Daily task or time task is to talk to this professor, so she's right here. Let's talk to her again. How are you settling into life at Hogwarts? I know how overwhelming it can be at first, but don't worry, you'll soon find a rhythm. Enrollment season, day 1. Participate in 2 duels at the Dueling Club. Invite a companion to the dance club, which inherently you're immediately being given tasks that feel like you're going to have to interact with people. And so you really can't play this game single player. And so if there's nobody else online and you were trying to play this game months or years from now, it doesn't seem like you could really accomplish everything. Let's go talk to Robin. As the last thing it looks like we need to do on that task. And yes, I could just go into more duels in the Duel Club, but I probably won't, and I probably won't do the dance club.
Is something wrong?
Yeah, we never really got a resolution as to what happened to Robin, where she disappeared.
Everything is wrong. In fact, I can't imagine anything will be right again. And it's all my fault.
I'm still not sure if Robin was the painter girl that we saw at the beginning.
What happened?
There's a real danger here. This is going to just all turn into like preteen, teenage melodrama, romance stories, which you could have some of that, but it doesn't make the most sense to go too deep into that, considering Harry Potter is very much more of a adventure story targeted more towards boys. We're also seeing in the animation here that
Robin, it can't be that bad.
our character's hand is just clipping through her hat as she scratches her head.
Oh, yes it can. It's terrible. Horrible even.
This may just be also some other hysterics.
But if you must know, I missed the bloody bludger.
No idea what that is.
Missed the bludger, which then hit our chaser,
I assume this has to do with Quidditch.
causing them to drop the quaffle instead of scoring the goal that would have given us a 150-point lead.
It's just all made up
I'm sorry,
nonsense.
Robin, but 140 points is still a big lead, isn't it?
Sure,
as long as the opposing seeker doesn't catch the snitch. Because your teammate tried to cut across the pitch to help and instead knocked your own seeker off course.
Oh, that is rough, but it's not your fault.
How is it not my fault?
See, and they have her like rubbing her eyes, but there's no tears actually flowing there. And if she is supposed to be upset, perhaps the eyes pattern they're using at the moment isn't the best.
I mean, it's a team sport, right?
Yes, and my team hates me. I'll never be happy again. My life
See how
is
it just kind of
ruined.
goes back into that kind of more sort of cocky default pose that all the characters seem to kind of have.
That's why I came to Hagrid's.
Yeah, there is kind of a less than neutral default pose in the faces.
I thought maybe he could feed me to a blast-ended Scroot. I deserve it.
Oh, don't be so dramatic. I'm sure Hagrid will have something to cheer you up. Come on, let's go.
Okay. So, I was talked to Robin. Now we're heading to Hagrid's hut. Which I press V, and then that, for some reason, decided to have me ride a broom. Which I guess is always going to be the fastest way to get where you want to go. Then you get close enough, and then you get a very poor frame rate cutscene. And again, no audio playing there, which that feels like a glitch. Yeah, I would assume what's going to happen here is either one more battle, or they're going to send us into the forest and show that aspect, because we kind of know that there is a forest element, dark forest adventure element.
Oh, not again!
What's the matter, Hagrid? You look almost as miserable as me.
Oh, it's them ready gnomes.
I suppose dueling in the Duel Club is slightly different than
They're
dueling
burrowing under the
against
garden,
just
chewing on the roots and
monsters.
putting holes in the pumpkins. Can't even tell till the damage is done.
Because when you're fighting wizard versus wizard, or witch versus wizard, or witch versus witch, they summon a lot more characters
Those little terrors. That's not how you carve a
than
pumpkin.
just fighting monsters alone.
Is there anything we can do to help?
Yeah, I used to clear out the gnomes in our garden at home all the time. In fact, I bet it's a lot like taking out your frustrations on a bludger. Might be good practice.
All right then, I'll leave you to it.
I suspect in this game there is a Quidditch
Just
mini
remember,
game
they're more troublesome
that
than they
probably isn't much more than the dancing mini game. Pelt the gnomes. But that seems like that's probably about it.
Oh,
Let's start with warm-up. I'll teach you how to hit a bludger. Practice using the bludger and repel. The things. Before teaching the gnomes a lesson, let's practice using the bludger. Bludger will return after it's been hit. Interesting. Stand on its path to hit it again. I don't think this is going to go well. Return. Move to the path. Maybe you only have to move to the path. Okay, so it is just a half. So this feels like you're playing something close to it feels like you're playing something close to cricket. I don't see how you could really enjoy doing this though. It'll get you a decent combo, but it's just even more of a hassle than what you really would want to do. So you can just let her use the bludger while I'll just send out Niffler. Try and find me some more gold. I don't know if Niffler really is finding me a large amount of gold. Seems like we have a timer on this too. Get double bludgers going. So we just learned one more spell that there's probably several spells you cannot learn until you've done the tutorialization. I don't know why I'm flying.
Galloping Gorgons! You took care of them gnomes in no time at all. Well done.
Oh, it was nothing, Hagrid.
I wonder if we're potentially going to just hit a wall where we can't do story 1-2 until we wait 24 hours or something like that. Wait a week.
I appreciate it. Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
this
you were coming to see me, weren't you?
pop-in visuals, and it's just all terrible.
Did you say something about feeling miserable?
I was feeling a bit down. But it turns out taking on a horde of gnomes was exactly what I needed. I should be thanking you.
Oh, well, you're welcome, I suppose.
I don't know if the games like this visual novel style dialogue going forward should play a sound effect when I click forward.
And if they ever come back, let us know. I can always use
Probably should, but it's the clicking sound it's making is a little off-putting. Alright. So we've unlocked the epic card Bludger for doing that. And then introduction Forbidden Forest. Head to Hagrid's hut. Isn't Hagrid's hut right here? Nope, seems more like they want us to head this direction. Is Daniel showing up? Interesting, this character to the left here is just a made up custom character. Looks fairly good enough that I would have thought she would have been a main character, but she isn't.
Hi, Daniel. Are you here to visit Hagrid?
Shh, keep your voice down. I'm just, looking for something.
They really are going crazy with the outfits, though. That, as a concept, it's not getting explained why so many of these students would be assigned school uniforms, then be allowed to be out of their school uniforms at any point they choose. Although it kind of doesn't make any sense that you'd even have school uniforms in Hogwarts, since you'd probably be able to change your appearance pretty easily anyways.
But I didn't lose anything. I'm brewing a new potion, and there's one ingredient I still need, but, well, it only grows in the Forbidden Forest.
Okay. Talk to Hagrid now. Yeah, you're getting very basic RPG elements here where it's just like, go talk to this person, go talk to this person.
I can't believe
Go
what I'm
find the
hearing.
ingredient.
2 first years trying to sneak into the Forbidden Forest? I thought you'd know better. Entering the forest all on your own. What are you thinking?
I guess it's called the Forbidden Forest, not the Dark Forest.
Would it be okay if you went with us?
Hang on, that's not what I was saying. It's true, of course, but I was trying to warn you and
keep us safe, right? That's so thoughtful, Hagrid. So, you'll come
You
with
have
us
like
then?
all those wind effects messing with your cutscene.
oh, well. Only because I need to check on something myself. Suppose a quick look couldn't hurt.
What exactly do you have to check on?
None of your business. Alright, follow me. And stay close. And do exactly what I tell you.
Alright. Forbidden Forest, press F to load in. And the text is getting cut off at the top there, because they've got cinematic black bars at the top and bottom. They've swapped our character back into her robes, but they've kept the hat, weirdly. This really is about the last opportunity where you could potentially have a lot of encounters back to back and a lot of grinding happening. But even if you did have a lot of that, it does feel like you would fairly quickly get bored with all the cards you're throwing. And here we have a tent and some footprints.
And stay close. And do exactly what I tell you.
You already said that line. Okay. So there's level 1, level 2, level 3. And so reality is just kind of broken down here in favor of a gameplay mechanic, which is fine. Let's see what level 1 looks like. Solo exploration, WASD.
It sounds like water up ahead, and some rustling.
Explore rare. We hit F. So I assume these are just like branching paths. Mesmerized by the shimmering pool, you reach out to touch it. Am I supposed to do that? There's like text prompts here that's not being voiced, and they're not giving me a lot of time. Amputty's free elf. Am I supposed to be clicking on any of this? New echo obtained, Echo of Dobby. So I guess this is where you find echoes. Dobby, a free elf, is here to add movement cards and provide assistance with apparition to evade enemies.
I know it's dark, but try to keep your spirits up, eh? And remember what's most important.
What's that, Hagrid?
Well, courage, of course. You need plenty of that in the Forbidden Forest. Now, experience helps some. Skill, definitely. And, past adventures is worth remembering too. Put them together and that's what makes you stronger. Oh, and, you best throw in a bit of caution too. That's rule number 1 of the Forbidden Forest. Right. Ready to take that first step?
So I really just don't understand what this is. Just finished, got your first echo, equip it to see what you can do. Tap here to set or replace the echo. Let's see how echoes enhance your spells. The level bonus will be applied when the echo is equipped and the same card is in your deck. Add the same cards to the deck for your level. 1 means the card will gain an extra level. Level up your echo to unlock new card bonuses. Give it a try. Tap the upgrade button. 80 to upgrade. To unlock new card bonuses, a random amount of energy, I guess is what that is, will be granted every time you unlock a bonus. Different echoes have different effects, so be sure to explore the Forbidden Forest often for more. Tap here to equip the echo. Tap here for details and a tutorial video. Yeah, I don't think I really understand all of this. Fully. Seems like level 1 here. And also upgrade some other cards. Seems like we now have a level 7 Echo of Dobby, and we have a level 10 Echo of Dobby. Why would I have 2 Echoes of Dobbies? I don't know, but why can I not merge those 2 together? This says level 7 max. This one says level 10 max. Seems like there are echoes of many characters. Weasley twins. Newt Scamander. That's from the other book. Hermione Granger. I'm a little surprised they didn't just give you Hermione Granger as an echo. Bellatrix Lestrange. Doesn't seem like there's as many characters as you would think, though. We're just constantly getting cards that are labeled as new, and I don't know if that's just because we're getting one more copy of those cards, or if you have to click on them. Okay. So it seems to me like you could kind of wander anywhere you want, but you're probably going to hit an invisible wall in the Forbidden Forest.
Sounds like a bird. I wonder what kinds of birds there are in the Forbidden Forest.
So stage 2 is going to be a battle. First stage was to find something. So there's 1 of 4 interactions for stage 1.
Deal is. It's just a forest.
It's quite unnerving, though.
It's a very
isn't
large
it?
lantern
And
to be
dark.
carrying, considering you can just have your wand light up.
Nope, not in there.
What are you looking for, Hagrid?
Oh, well, nothing to worry about. Just something for class.
Hagrid?
Hey, you found her. Oh, look how big she's gotten. Ain't she beautiful?
She looks angry, Hagrid. Look out!
So perhaps you have a slightly different environment. Wow, I only had to cast 1 spell to win. I got some kind of reward, apparently.
Mostly, yeah.
Some
Unless-
new resource.
Of course. That's why she ran off. She must have a nest around here. She's just protecting her babies. Come on, let's have a look.
Okay. So now stage 2.
Quiet. But quiet doesn't always mean safe. That rustling sound is putting my nerves on end.
Battle hard.
Steps. But
We
they
could
don't sound
gather
even
resources.
Quiet. But
quiet, doesn't it?
Let's just gather resources.
They don't sound human.
So now you have a branching path. I think I'm understanding how this is going to break down.
Wow.
So basically it's a dungeon
paths.
crawler with just a different branching paths. Not as many branching paths as you might expect.
Yeah, but I don't see the herb I need for the potion.
And it's definitely not a particularly interesting dungeon crawler RPG element.
Some of these could come in handy, though. Might as well collect them while we're here.
Actually, the fact that this game has any RPG elements is being wasted.
No, but be quick about it. Don't want to stay in one place for too long.
I don't think there will ever be a point where any player says, oh, my health is at like 500 and it needs to be at 501 to win.
Hagrid, what is that?
Blimey. I was right, she is a mum. That's why she was so mad.
Great, let's go.
Just don't even care about the story anymore.
No, you stay here. Safer that way. I won't be gone long.
The problem with the story is that
I mean it. Don't move.
I'd say
Until I get back.
80% of the stories that we're being told here is not that main story that's interesting. Okay. Says you said don't move.
Something burning.
And that's a boss fight. I don't think you have any other options. Otherwise you're just in a arena circle area. This definitely feels like a game that has been designed from that kind of Asian MMO mentality where they expect the players just to waste a lot of time playing and grinding. Whereas personally I think the Western players in general, and just me in particular, don't want the extra grind in RPGs or games at all anymore.
I don't know. Something big. Keep going.
Particularly if you're a PC gamer, you've got plenty of other games to play. And nowadays, with mobile games being mostly free to play and a lot of PC games being free to play, keeping players' attention is just not as big of a deal. Well, I guess we have to hit F to battle. I don't know why they're prompting me on that to start with.
Now you're in trouble.
Niffler, essence of Control, protect us.
The main move I assume here is to get out of the circle's areas of influence. But I don't know if you're really supposed to even be able to win here. Seems like fighting a dragon and winning this early is kind of crazy.
Here where Hagrid has that dragon distracted.
Why have this animation that gives you rewards when you just weren't seeing this animation before when you were getting rewards? And see, now you have all these other currencies of rat tails and oils, and it feels like there really is going to be some kind of crafting element that's introduced. Next stage unlocked, solo exploration stage 2.
You all right then? I should have known you'd do exactly what I told you not to. Come on, let's get you back before the headmistress notices 2 more students are missing.
I'll never do it again. I promise.
Me too. I'm sorry, Hagrid.
Oh, it's not your fault. Shouldn't have left you alone like that. Let's get you back before the headmistress notices 2 more students are missing.
Wow. This is twice we've had Hagrid just repeat himself. And I don't know if maybe that's his character, but it's bad writing regardless. Yeah, and I don't think you have a choice here. Returning to the castle really makes the most sense. Explore the Forbidden Forest. We can claim that reward. And then apparently brew a potion is the next thing. How much more of this is there? Okay. This was part of 1-2. This is making a potion. This is card primer on Niffler. This is solo exploration stage 3. Head to the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom. And then at this point you free Gossamer, who apparently is part of the main story as a character. Let's just see what happens if we can we get to the next page. Yeah. Then we would talk to Robin about Weasley's Wildflower Whizbang card. Then Care of Magical Animals as a thought. And then a Draw to Peace. And then a Duel challenge. And then whatever Fooper takes you to. And then stage 5 in solo exploration. Then chapter 3 Without a Trace happens as far as the main story. And really I would just like to do all the main story and skip all of this. Follow Gossamer to the hideout. Campaign Daniel. Find Cassandra in Diagon Alley. Charms Classroom. Chapter 4. This is all just so incredibly slow, though. If 6 hours plus into the game I had gotten through all of this year 1 stuff, I would have been a lot happier. But take a moment here and look and see what this says. Year 2 coming soon. As the new school year approaches, Hogwarts welcomes a new visiting professor. Rumor has it that he's traveled extensively and loves adventure. What surprises will the new professor bring? Which, yeah, that makes me suspect that there is no content at all in this game past year 1, and it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to put. Well, if it took me 6 hours to get through everything on 1-1, maybe they could drag things out and take another 6 hours to get here, another 6 hours to get there, another 6 hours to get there, and another 6 hours to get there. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Making a 30-hour game so far. But yeah, none of it's good. None of this works at all for its core gameplay mechanic. None of these microtransactions make any sense. None of the dress-up element makes enough sense.
Sunshine, Daisy, buttermellow. Turn this stupid fat rat yellow.
This adventure here.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Let's see.
Keep going, mate. Don't give up. Knight to
10
H3.
pulls for only 9 keys. We have 5 keys
Sunshine,
at the
daisy,
moment.
buttermellow. Turn this stupid fat rat yellow.
So we'd have to figure out how to get more ruby keys if we were going to go down that route, which we just aren't. There is a thank you note exchange, which I have to assume thank you notes are something you give via your social group. So yet another currency. Yeah, you can see there's room here for them to... They've left themselves enough room to have several more currencies purchasable. Alright, well... That's not the button I meant to press. I think at this point we can say we're done. This is not a collectible card game by any means. In no way could it replace something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel or Magic the Gathering Arena or Hearthstone. It's not an RPG game I'd really want to engage with. Obviously, I guess if you took the main story and polished everything quite a bit, like this is really buggy, very poorly designed as a concept, and just being thrown out there. If this game didn't have Harry Potter on it, nobody would give it the time of day, and that's basically the amount of attention it deserves. There are better customize your character and run around and collect things. I'm sure Atli or Ryzo comes to mind as one where you could make potions, run around, do an action adventure RPG game. But yeah, there's way too many microtransactions, way too many bugs. The game is way too random and all over the place as far as what its focus is. Its gameplay mechanic doesn't make any sense for what it is. I was expecting to play a card game, and instead I've been put into a time-wasting simulator, for lack of a better descriptor. Yep, and I thought I would probably put out these videos like early to highlight them, but honestly, I think it would be more efficient for me to put out these videos as part of my scheduled content. So we definitely haven't had a quick look here, but we are getting a mini series looking at Harry Potter Magic Awakened. By the time these episodes air, there's a heavy chance that even more content has been added and mini seasons that would have come and gone, but it doesn't matter. Like, this definitely didn't put its best foot forward. I do kind of like the dancing minigame. You could have probably broken up this concept into 5 separate little mobile games and had a copy and paste character customization system where you could create your own character in the post Harry Potter universe, and that character could be in several different mini games. Pokemon certainly would do well if you could do that, where you could make a custom character and then copy the design of that custom character between multiple generations of Pokemon games. At a certain level, I guess this game could have been much more like a Pokemon game, in that there could have been a lot more charms and cards, and you could have been collecting magical creatures and having them battle, or you could have been collecting a lot more spells and using them. But yeah, I don't even know how you really fix this. There's so many questions that have to be answered better and explained better, as far as just, should you have custom characters in the Harry Potter universe? Should it look like anime characters when you make a custom character, or should it be in much more of the illustrated British style of characters that are depicted in the books? should you have a card game mechanic, or should it just be a action mechanic, or should it not be any kind of mechanic, and should it just be a visual novel? Should it even be a video game? Or do you just have a good story that would have been better as a cartoon? In a lot of ways, since Harry Potter is a movie, book, movie and book series, no TV series so far, it would make a lot of sense to just make a TV series and go with those linear tales being told. If you went down that route and made it a cartoon, then you could have had a lot more characters showing up, and you could have built it into it more of a concept of every 22-minute episode had some magical creature attack or some kind of challenge happen, and then you could neatly wrap up the story in that one episode and move on to the next encounter and event in the next episode. But yeah, well, I can only talk about what I see, and what I see is not impressive. So I don't want to belabor the point. That's going to be it for this series. Yeah, as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on social media sites, there's a couple links down in the description box. There's also support links if you want to support me further than just following me on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.